Morning, Abuja. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Abuja today. With us today in the program, we have a special guest with us today, Mr. Beatrice. Project. We want you to tell us briefly about Abuja Original Inhabitant Youth Empowerment Organization. What is the purpose it is set out to achieve, the aims and objectives, and how do you go about achieving these aims and objectives?
Okay, Abuja Original Inhabitant Youth Empowerment Organization is an organization that has been existing for over a decade now. We are actually a youth-led organization building the capacity of young people to live, lead, and thrive. And then our activities range from rights advocacy, youth empowerment, gender equity. We also engage in capacity building, and so on and so on. We are also promoting and projecting the rights of the original inhabitants of FCT. You know, the people of Abuja, since the inception and the move of the Federal Capital Territory into Abuja, the original inhabitants have been disenfranchised, they've been marginalized, and there have been agitations here and there. So the purpose of the creation of this organization by the founder himself, which is Ambassador Isaac David, who happens to be the executive director and also the HSA, and seek for appropriate approach to be able to help in projecting to confronting the government of our rights and what we need. This issue bothered around land compensation, modernization, statelessness, and so on and so forth.
There have been issue of a ministerial appointment, mayoral status, and the rest of them. How have we been able to push?
Okay, I'll tell you, they've been fighting multiple fronts, but like you know, in this fight, there is no gatekeeper to the fight. Everybody is basically contributing their quota. And when it comes to Abuja flight, the flight is across board. There are people advocating for the rights of our females. There are people advocating for our political rights, people advocating for our economic rights, people advocating for our socio-cultural rights. You get? Yes. So the move of the federal capital from Lagos to Abuja really pushed the original inhabitants aside. Now you can imagine, since the creation of FCT, there have not been any original inhabitants that have been the FCT minister. So it means no representation in the Federal Executive Council.
I'll be right to say the federal capital territory being located from Lagos to Abuja has been more of disadvantage.
Actually, it is. I look at it two sides. You understand? I look at it two sides. Of course, moving the federal capital territory to Abuja presents two situations, like I like to describe it. Representation of everybody in this city. There is no civilization that is not present in Abuja. All the embassies of other nations, of great nations, are actually domiciled in Abuja. But beside that keen competition and keen opportunity, unprecedented opportunity, we have keen competition by that side. The keen competition is that when the Federal Capital Territory moved in here, the original inhabitant has been sitting here. So civilization came. So anybody that is present in Abuja is the very best person in his state or in his country. So he comes here to bring his own civilization and competing with the original inhabitants who are here. Do you get? And the original inhabitants, since the movement of FCT here, you start talking about how many schools do we have, education, qualifications. So most of these positions, our people were not qualified. So when the federal government moved the federal capital into Abuja, it came up with these two issues. Several positions were open, but a lot of our people were not educated at that time to be able to take on these offices. But that's not the case why we're here or what we're doing. We understand this has been done. But now we have more educated people, we're more enlightened, we're more civilized, we understand what is going on. Now we're now demanding that let there be inclusion of our people into the state. And I also tell you, talking about ministerial slots, of course, you see there's a case that Barrister Panya took to the court that has gotten a Supreme Court judgment mandating the president to appoint an indigenous person into his cabinet. That has not been. So this is a pure case of injustice and disregard for the great people of Abuja. And then we also have issues around the statelessness of Abuja. Now, I'll give you a scenario. In other clans, in other states, every other state has a state assembly, which means they are able to vote in their leaders into various state assemblies. And then they are also able to vote in their governor who they take their plight to. And then by extension, they have six House of Rep members, 3 senatorial zone. Do you understand? Some even have more.
Yes.
But when you look at the case of Abuja, for crying out loud, Abuja is over 8,000 square meters.
Yes.
Barely 1,000 to 2,000 has been developed.
That's right.
And the people here, by population and landmass, were bigger than a lot of states, if not 2 or 3 states combined. But Abuja do not have representation in the Senate. You can't believe we only have one senator. 2 House of Rep members. No National Assembly talk more of a governor. That's why we are demanding for state status. And we have said that let there be a federal capital city and also the federal capital territory. Do you get? Yes. Where the latter becomes where the administrative duty, the minister and all that can take there. And then the other federal capital city will be governed by the mayor. If not mayor, let's say, okay, give us a fit status. But now, I also feel one of the things we've experienced in our plight is that maybe the federal government feel like the original inhabitants are trying to push them by one side when they give them their right. That's not what we want. You understand? All we are saying is that we are young people, right? We are very active. There are over 1.5 million of us that are breeding. We do not have a state. As I'm sitting here before writing JAM, I have to claim Nasarawa State as my state because in the provision, Abuja is recognized as a place, but not as a place where people reside in or people are domiciled, which means Abuja is a place where nobody is living.
Yes.
So, but nowhere is no man's land. Before the creation of Nigeria itself, before the moving of federal capital, people have been existing here for centuries.
And that is why from different quarters you hear assertions, this place was a virgin land, there was nobody living here and all that and all that and all that.
So many issues are across this issue. There are issues of statelessness. Do you understand?
Yes.
Issues of inclusion into government structure. Issues of representation. We want to have representation, not just at the Federal Executive Council, many other things. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, people say Niger Delta, they like to compare our issue with Niger Delta. But let me tell you, realistically, it will be more disenfranchised than the Niger Delta themselves. But they pushed on their fight and they were able to get NDDC, which is the Niger Delta Development Commission. What stops Abuja from actually having what we call Abuja Original Inhabitant Development Commission, where all our issues can be tackled? So these issues are enormous. And then you create a department and say Department of Compensation under the FCTA. That department alone is a full ministry, should be a full ministry. Because when you go there, issues that are unattended to are so much. The court case and all, there's so much. So we need to have a ministry dedicated for our plight, just like the NDDC.
Yes. This juncture would be right to say, as it is commonly say, development is a process. And at this juncture, FCT people are ready. They are capable to represent their people at any level in government and what have you. We'll take a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Abuja, or rather FCT Youth Network. What gave birth to FCT Youth Network, and what is the aim behind? What is this set out to achieve? And if we want to add, what is the difference between Abuja Original Inhabitant Youth Empowerment Organization and FCT Youth Network?
Wow, you see, I've been smiling since you brought up the topic. Okay, FCT Youth Network. Okay, let's say it's a brainchild of Abuja Original Inhabitant Youth Empowerment Organization, which by credibility and by fact is the most extensive grassroots organization in FCT. And why we say that is because it has a structure that spans across 6 area councils, 17 chiefdoms, 62 wards, 858 community persons, or 858 communities of Abuja. So we have been engaged in diverse processes, in diverse projects, springing several initiatives. In time past, we spring out projects such as Abuja Native Authority. We've also spring out projects such as Abuja OIpedia, which is a cultural repository that is documenting the cultures of FCT.
Yes.
So FCT Youth Network is pretty much similar to some of the initiatives that we're actually chunking out. And the reason why organizations chunk out initiatives is because they want to be able to expand their capacity. So FCT Youth Network is going to be the most extensive grassroots to urban community youth network in Abuja, if not in North Central, right? And then what we seek to achieve is we basically want to expand the capacity of the organization to the communities. And by the communities, I mean the urban and the rural communities, both the original inhabitants and also the residents of Abuja. So we feel like the youth have been disconnected in many fronts, where we have several youths and several fractions of people coming up with diverse activities. So what Abuja Original Inhabitants is trying to do with this new initiative is by means of trying to have a central rally point
for the youth.
But then we also want to democratize the process, which means that anybody who is holding any position under the youth network must have been nominated or elected or appointed into that position, right?
Yes.
So now we are having a situation where we're going to be producing by the youth network, we're going to be having what we call the FCT youth leader by structure. And we're going to have the 6 area council reps, 62 ward coordinators, and also 858 community spokespersons. Do you get? And then how we want to be, why we're taking this approach, or how we want to approach this, is that basically we have 858 communities in FCT. We want these 858 communities members to nominate 62 ward coordinators, or elect 62 ward coordinators. The 62 ward coordinators, together with them, should be able to elect the 6 area council reps. 6 area council reps, together with all the structure, should be able to elect who becomes the youth leader. But we're also mindful of gender, because part of the things we're doing is gender sense. All of the offices, from the office of the youth leader down to the spokesperson, we're actually having gender balance. Every position must come with both gender. So what does that mean? We mean if a male is the FCT youth leader, automatically the running mate has to be a female who becomes the FCT youth secretary. If the female or the latter is the FCT youth leader, the secretary or the vice automatically is a male who becomes the FCT youth secretary. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to do. So we're democratizing the process. And it's worthy to note that the essence why we're trying to do this, we have objectives that we're trying to achieve. And we realize that, of course, government is supposed to do this. But if government do have the right to democratize the process of electing leaders and appointing leaders into various offices, civil society organizations such as AO and many other organizations that are existing in Nigeria should also have the right to be able to do such, right? Under the NGO Act, or under the civil society law, right? So what we are trying to do is, and the general objective is, we want to be able to have community conventions at community levels, where spokespersons are able to collect data, collect information and issues around their community, and then push it down to their ward coordinators. The ward coordinators gather all the issues within their ward and they present it to their area council reps. And the area council reps are able to discuss with the youth leader, who becomes like the spokesperson of the entire network. So this is a democratic process. So what we also want to do is that we have conventions where parliamentary sessions will be holding, where we're also going to be having what we call information and data gathering, where we'll be having town hall meetings at ward levels. And then we're also going to be having an annual general convention where all the issues in all the 62 wards, 6 area councils are going to be discussed. At the end of the day, their primary responsibility is to come up with a youth policy The youth policy that will serve as a guideline and also a communique that directs the path the FCT youth really want to go. And you might want to ask which areas this policy is going to touch. We're going to be touching the education of our youth. We're going to be touching agriculture. We're going to be touching leadership. So look at this as a civil structure that is going to empower the people to drive their vision and air out their voice to the government. And this voice is going to be a collective voice. Collective voice because it's coming from the grassroots themselves. Not like somebody went and sit down and say he's a youth leader and he's pronouncing things for the youth.
I was actually coming to that point. There are several youth organizations within the FCT. Are we looking up to having FCT Youth Network as a central body where other organizations will tie into the network, or the existing organization will still go on with their activities? The reason why I'm asking this, there are likelihood where policy conflicts will come in, interest and all that. There are cases where we started this and the rest of them. Do we have any policy to harmonize this organization?
Okay.
Or the rest will be retired into one?
Okay. FCT Youth Network, actually, we do have a concept note which capture what we hope to achieve, what our objectives are, and the position. And we also have a bylaw, which tells us how people become members of this platform, how people get on board, how people get involved, how people are elected, the disciplinary action, code of conduct. Literally, pretty much, you know what a bylaw is. It captures everything that has to do with the network, how it's supposed. It's pretty much like a constitution. Now, of course, every organization is carrying out their responsibility and duty. But when you look at the objective the youth network is trying to achieve, is very different from the objective every other platform is trying to achieve. And whatnot. We could have several platforms who also want to achieve same objective. There is no such thing as too much power or monopoly in fighting this FCT fight. You understand? This is a fight where we need everybody across the globe to put an into those. We need everybody to sympathize and put an into. But what FCT Youth Network wants to say is that it is open to all. So long as you fall under the age bracket of a youth, which is 18 to 35 or 40, they're still deliberating around that age issue. But of course, within 18 to 35 or 40, do you understand? That's what we're also looking at. So every youth, you now, if you have your organization, of course, you can be part of the structure, or you be part of it as an individual. As a matter of fact, I want to call on all FCT indigents and also residents. This is going to be the platform you all need to be in if you want to see actual change and development in FCT. This platform is going to harmonize all our thoughts, all our grievances, and make sure that our efforts and moves are concentrated on what really matters. Because if you don't gather the information from the grassroots, you might be advocating for certain things and you don't know what you're advocating for. So the people who say you are not speaking for me,
possibly their priorities are ignored.
I ignore. So, but now we have a system that collects data from the grassroots and brings it to the top where this voice can be heard. So we're going to be having a situation where everybody's voice will be heard through this network, through the chain of this network. So that is what we're trying to do. So a unified front, not a divided front. So I believe that this is what FCT Youth Network is going to achieve.
The program proper, FCT Youth Network, the launching is at the corner. Then we want to know the event proper, the time, the date, and the venue.
Oh, okay. We literally had to choose a very centralized venue that, considering the wide network and people that are going to be coming. So we're going to be seeing over 858 community spokespersons that are going to be present. 62 ward coordinators with their vice, male and female, which makes it about 124 people. The area council reps and all that. So what we want to do is to unveil the platform, and then we're democratizing it, and then we're going to nominate and appoint an electoral committee that day. Right? The program starts by 10 a.m. It is at Exhibition Pavilion, opposite Radio House, very close, sharing fence with ICC, which is the International Conference Center. So what we're going to do, of course, introduce this platform like I am doing now.
Yes.
Of course, we're going to adopt the bylaw.
Okay.
Do you get? And then we also want to nominate and appoint the ward coordinators, which is 124 divided by 2, which is 62 ward coordinators. And then we're going to swear in the electoral committee, which is going to be the independent body that will conduct the election. So we're opening up the ballot for the youth leader.
Okay.
Anybody in Abuja that at least you have resident in Abuja, one of your parents is in Abuja, or you have lived so the bylaw will explain that when we do all that. So,
okay. And
also we're opening up the area council nomination, the area council reps position for people to contest.
Okay.
So we're going to be opening the bylaws, and the electoral committee will take charge. 1 month upon the launch, or 1 month and 1 week, we're going to have the election proper. After election, we're going to be planning the inauguration of all the leaders, and then we announce them to the world, and they begin their function.
All right, you talk about the venue, you talk about the program, also the time. And,
the time is 10 a.m. The date is 25th of June 2021, which is this Saturday that is coming next tomorrow. So we're inviting you all, everybody come up. All those that are listening to this, the viewers, the residents, the original inhabitants, the 9 tribes, the residents of Abuja. If you're a youth, you're free to come. Please come and be part of this journey, because it's going to be an interesting one to be part of.
before the last question, let's go in a short break. All right, welcome back, viewers. Lastly, I would want to ask, what is your message to the youth? Some people might be indifferent concerning this FCT Youth Network. They might come up with issues that has been different of such organization who have not achieved anything reasonable and all that. What is your message to people who might be indifferent and they need why they should embrace this with all their heart?
First of all, I said the great youth of Abuja have been very cooperative and very resilient. We've been able to be very hospitable with our approach to things. I am believing that the unveiling of this program will be taken in good faith, simply because this is a new solution. This is a new platform. This is something we all need to be able to embrace. And reason because just multiply the importance of having this and the importance of not having it. You realize that we really need a structure like this. So don't sit on the fence, try to get involved. Before you criticize or say anything about this, I would really advise that you try to find out and get the information of what this thing is really about. We're going to try as much as we can to do enlightenment and reach out to people through stations like Agbagisha TV and many other stations like this, so that the youth can be able to understand. This is not about benefits and what have we. This is about fighting for a just cause, fighting for the liberation of the Federal Capital Territory and its original inhabitants. We really need to do this now, and time is not on our side. We really need to do this.
Thank you very much for having you.
Thank
Project and Program Coordinator, Abuja Original Inhabitants Youth Empowerment Organization. Thank you very much for coming. We look forward to having you time to time.
Of course, I'm always open.
You're
Just
welcome.
invite me anytime.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.